Okay. I will pick the quickest question here, although maybe it's not a quick question. This question is about jerseys and ones that you've owned. I figure it takes a lot for me to. It didn't used to take a lot for me to buy like a jersey or a jersey of a player. I've stopped buying Knicks jerseys, and I own a Jets jersey, but I got to be honest, the Jets have kind of beaten it out of me over the past couple of years. So they'll have to actually accomplish something like, hey, a playoff berth. And then I'll actually come maybe represent the team with some apparel. Mets jerseys are really the only thing I own right now, or at least will invest in. So over the years, what jerseys have you guys owned, whether it be Knicks or other teams or other players, maybe out of New York teams? Jeremy, we'll start with you.
I haven't bought as many jerseys over the last however many years, but when I was a kid, constantly. Mm-hmm. I think what comes to mind, I loved basketball jerseys as a kid. So I think one of my favorites was the bright orange Charlotte Bobcats Emeka Okafor jersey.
Wow, Jeremy.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It's great. Then there's also like the red Eli Manning jersey.
Cut.
That is a deep cut.
Wow.
100%. There was like a Jazz Andre Kirilenko jersey I had, but I didn't. But I couldn't wear it because I actually met him at the NBA store and got an autograph. I was like, I don't want to ruin it. So I don't think I wore it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else jersey wise. There were so many great designs in like 2005, 2006 that looking back were also just terrible. But then they were like, this is fantastic. These color schemes are great. Love it. So I think I'll stick with Emeka and keep it there. I think it's good enough.
What Knicks jerseys have you owned?
I mean, a ton over the years. The first Knicks jersey I ever got was a Spree.
Okay.
Then Starbury. And then I shifted more to jerseys, like Stat for sure. I don't think there's anyone else. KP, which is now a Grimes jersey with
soon to be Bill Russell.
The last number 6.
Yeah, yes. The last number 6.
Exactly. And then I spoiled myself last year where I got a Quickley jersey. And then
okay. Benji.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jeremy, we our complexion doesn't really lend itself to the straight jersey look. Nobody wants to see that.
But you know what? If you believe in yourself, you can do it. Like red usually clashes. I'm sure you get this too, Benji. Like red and orange aren't the best colors.
Doesn't work.
But I gotta tell you, like when you're a kid, when you're 10 years old, you're running around with a Emeka Okafor jersey. The world is your oyster.
The orange one. Speaking of clashing,
hell yeah.
That's amazing.
By the way, great. One more jersey that I love happens to be the turquoise Liberty jersey. I'm saying that because Liberty just won.
Did they really? Yeah. Shout out to the Liberty. There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
I really never had jerseys. I just wasn't a jersey person. I had
you wore a Red Holtz jersey is what you did.
That's right.
Yeah.
I have a CC Sabathia with the stadium insignia. It was the last year of the stadium. So that's a cool one that I have. That's like the pinstripes, like the real vet. Like that's a real legit nice jersey that I have
last year of the stadium?
Yeah. Sorry. The first year.
Okay. I was about to say they made jerseys for
first year of the stadium.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a cool one that I have that I've worn probably twice. I don't know what to do with it, but it's nice. But I don't know what I would wear it. I was randomly a Denver Broncos fan in my very early youth, and I had a Jay Cutler jersey. Wow. Who was great for a couple of years there. Yeah. Also turns out not the greatest human, and I don't have that one anymore. Other than that, I don't think I never had a Knicks jersey or a shirt. I never had anything like that. I got my son, Aaron Judge, a little Yankees t-shirt, one of those nice ones. So he rocks that to school and camp. So that's cool. But otherwise, really very little to report.
I got to add one more.
Sure.
The powder blue LaDainian Tomlinson jersey.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
That's so good.
A beaut.
Yeah.
So Benji, I don't know if you know this about me. I worked at Dick's Sporting Goods for 10 years.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So I'm trying.
One?
There are a couple different ones on Long Island. I worked at one in Virginia when I went down there for school because I went from full-time to part-time and I didn't want to work there the rest of my life. Then I graduated and immediately started to work there again full-time while I looked for something in the industry, this industry, I should say. And I'm trying to separate like jerseys I got because I got a discount. Like before I got a full-time job and had money and then it was a discount, or I was like the first to notice, oh, this Kevin Garnett jersey's on clearance. I don't care if it's Brooklyn, it's Kevin Garnett. I might as well get it for $7. So growing up, I had an Allen Houston and a Melo jersey. At my job, I got a Tyson Chandler and an Amari Stoudemire jersey for like $6 each, like clearance prices. Growing up for the Mets, Piazza, this is going to be embarrassing. Piazza, Ventura, Mo Vaughn, Roberto Alomar, all of these jerseys. Tom Glavine.
Just a laundry list of overpaid Mets.
Yes,
overpaid, washed up Mets.
Oh, eventually, beautiful. I learned I got a David Wright jersey. I had a Claudio jersey at one point. My buddy got me a Claudio 18 jersey. That was a number I wore in high school.
Love that.
And I didn't have one again until last year. I got I've put them up behind me before for gags, but I have an Alonso and a Wright jersey in the blue and then the white pinstripes. The Jets is actually a funny one. My first jersey was a Curtis Martin. I wore that thing into the ground. Then I got a Darrelle Revis jersey. And in there, somewhere in the middle there, when they first came out, I was one of the first to open the boxes to put them on the racks. I have a Jets Brett Favre jersey. That is a thing. Yes, I hate him, and I never really. That season did not go as well.
There wasn't any success there.
He went 8-3 with the Jets to start.
Yeah,
decided I don't want to run the offense that you are giving me anymore, and went two touchdowns, 11.
I wouldn't have even known that level of detail.
2 touchdowns, 11 interceptions over the final 5 games, and the Jets went 9-7 and missed the playoffs in a year that Tom Brady missed the rest of the season after week 1.
He had some Viking success too, didn't he?
Yes, literally the one team in his career, the 2 teams he didn't have success with in his career were the Falcons and the Jets. Yes.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And then some random ones. I actually got my first Rangers thing this year. I got a Kreider jersey. Shout out Chris. Got it for me for my birthday. Nice. And then you'd appreciate this, Jeremy. I have an Eli Manning jersey. Yeah.
I know you do because you have to wear it if we hit 1,000
Oh, yeah. I have to wear it. If we hit 1,000 patrons, I have to do a whole show with an Eli Manning jersey on. I've made it clear. The Giants are my heroes. I don't hate the Giants. I know I get painted in that corner because I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I just think the funnier narrative is that Brady's 3 Super Bowl losses, like he's beaten all these great quarterbacks, and Eli Manning beat him twice. Like that's the funnier narrative to me, you know? And then you guys hit it with the basketball jerseys. I had the Durant OKC jersey, the light blue one. Oh, you didn't like that one, Benji. Okay.
OKC jerseys are the worst.
They've never had a good jersey.
They haven't had one good jersey in their history.
I like the original Thunder jersey.
They should just wear the Sonics jerseys.
Well, okay. Not wrong.
What I don't understand is they are in an area that is incredible Native American history, and they could use those colors far better with like actual designers from the Native American community.
Mm-hmm.
It would be so cool to do it. And they've just every single year without fail, they're like, hey, here's another terrible jersey for you. It's like, cool. Great. Thanks.
I actually think the Durant Sonics jersey is kind of sick. I've seen that around. That's a really cool jersey.
The Sonics jersey in general is
like the fact that Durant, like actually people forget that he played there, and it's like cool when you kind of show up in one of those.
But do people like the Sonics jerseys because they're not the Sonics anymore and there's a retro feel to it, or do they like them because they legitimately look good? Because green and yellow, green and yellow's not the best color combination.
I think it's a cool scheme. I like it. I like the jersey. It's unique. It's Packers kind of ish,
which I don't love their color scheme either.
No, so that's Jeremy not liking green and yellow across the board.
Yeah.
I look at green and yellow. I'm with Benji. I think Packers. So I'm able to appreciate the history behind those colors together. I had a T-Mac Orlando jersey. I had a LeBron Cavs jersey. I had 4 different Michael Jordan jerseys. The black with the pinstripes, the blue, the red and the white Bulls jerseys. And then the last one I'll mention, a Toon Squad jersey, Michael Jordan. And then the one baseball one I'll mention, I still have it and I still wear it sometimes, is a Ken Griffey Jr. with the Mariner teal color.
It's a nice one.
I wore it to a Rays Angels game a couple of years ago down in Tampa. And no one knew why I was wearing a random Ken Griffey Jr. jersey. And I was like, because it's Ken Griffey Jr. That's why. Okay, Jeremy, your last question.
You can go to any sports game ever and witness it in the stands. Which one is it and why?
Ooh. Benji, what do you got? I feel like mine is Willis Reed, 1970.
That's a hell of a pick.
Of any of them. Wow.
I feel like with the benefit of I feel like with the benefit of YouTube, I can go watch the games in the 90s that I missed. And like the television product for basketball got better as the 80s kept going. To where you had multiple camera angles and you had multiple shots of inside the locker room and closer shots of the bench. Like by 1980, you had a camera in the huddle for most of these games. So there's really no good audio or video quality presentation of that moment that lets you appreciate it unless you were in the building. And it's why all the books I've read about that moment talk about it with such reverence as the moment that the series changed. Like the Lakers players have talked, like Jerry West talks about how, like, in the building, I immediately thought like we were going to lose this game. And like the elusive ring that I thought I was going to get all of a sudden is just, this is giving the Knicks a leg up because their MVP is coming back on the court. And then like the rest of the game happened, but I would have liked to have been in the building when Reed came out of the tunnel.
I mean, it could be any sport. I'm not saying not. If that was not clear, it could be any sport.
If it's Knicks related, well, sure. Yikes.
Not much to do.
Well, then game 686 is the Mets one.
I had a feeling you were going to go.
Yeah. I've also heard enough stories about Shea Stadium rocking in that moment. That's just a moment I would have liked to have been in the building for also. Benji.
Yeah, 2 come to mind, and I went to the same place that you had, Andrew, where I was like, I as much as being in the building is obviously different than watching on television, there's something about things that happened. Although Willis Reed, the moment is captured, but it's not high quality. So my mind went to 2 places. One is Wilt's 100-point game in Hershey, Pennsylvania, which there's literally 0 footage of, as far as I know. I haven't seen any.
No, there's none. There's none.
And like in a random place, and like one of the most incredible events that happened in basketball history took place. That's a cool one for me that I would have loved to be at. I don't know how many people were even there. That's one. I went to Ruth calling a shot.
Okay.
In general, I would have loved to see Babe Ruth play. That seems like cool.
Well, now you make me rethink it.
Those were the 2 that kind of jumped out as kind of like the pre-television era that like I could have reported on for the rest of my life and been like, I was at that game, that historic thing happened.
Would you then be allowed to come back to present day with Babe Ruth knowledge and be like, oh, the Babe Ruth's definitely hitting these guys because there's a dismissal sometimes from modern baseball fans that's like Babe Ruth wouldn't hit Adam Ottavino.
These conversations are so dumb.
You know,
I can't.
Adam Ottavino just gave a big home run in the Mets game too.
I can't with the koozie with that. That this has come up with the koozie thing with the Reddick, which I understood JJ's point, but like, what are we doing? It's like they were great for their era when they played. They were the best then, and like I don't understand why we have to do this. Like, what if they played now thing? Well, their training would be different. They'd still probably be great because they'd Like, who cares? Why does it matter? Like, Babe Ruth was hitting 60 home runs when dudes were hitting 14 home runs.
When teams were hitting 20. Yeah.
Like the idea that he wouldn't be elite in any generation. Like, yeah, if he was trained like an MLB baseball player and paid, like, yeah, if you just took Babe Ruth and you stuck him and put him against the Ottavino slider, he'd probably be like, what the hell is that sorcery? But if he played today, he would know what it was, and he'd probably still hit 60 home runs. Like, I don't get the whole thing, honestly. I don't. I understand that, like, when Bob Cousy in the 50s at least played against the guys who didn't have full-time jobs as NBA players. I understand that concept, but like, you could watch the footage and see Bob Cousy had a lot of talent, man. Like, and if he came around now, he'd have a lot of talent and be trained differently.
We need Benji on the pick pods, Jeremy. So when we're disrespectful to the guys from the 50s and 60s that played their entire careers while JFK was alive, Benji can join John in the defense of that era. What is your answer, Jeremy?
I honestly, I was similar to Benji. I really thought that the Babe Ruth one, calling a shot, be there, but it just doesn't. It's cool, but at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, he called a shot. Like,
and then it's over.
Right. And it's like, all right, that happened. And the thing is, so many people afterwards said, oh yeah, I was there for that game. And they weren't. And they just lied about it. So you couldn't even tell who was really telling the truth and who wasn't. I think if I had to go with one, it might actually be the 1980 Olympics when the men's hockey team won against the Soviet Union. And it wasn't even the gold medal game. And they had to play another game after that. But just a team of amateurs taking down one of the best assembled teams ever. And just the call. It's an incredible call. Do believe in miracles. Just like everything about it. People losing their minds.
Well, you wouldn't have heard the call, Jeremy. I don't want to be nitpick here.
I was about to say, yeah.
I'm saying, no, but I'm saying, don't get to hear the call. I'm saying listening to the call now and being like, I was in the knowing what it was like and the emotions there, that I think is really cool. But yes, I would not have actually, to be fair though, there were people who did have ham radios and were able to listen to it. So
you would have been at the game with a ham radio.
Fair enough. People go to baseball games who listen to the radio.
I know, I'm one of them, believe me.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, Benji, your last question.
Oh, all right. Then they're coming back to me. Hold up.
Yeah, last question.
Let me pull 333. Okay. If RJ, Quickley, Randle, and Obi were Yankees or Mets, current Yankees or Mets players,
oh God,
who would they be?
Oh God,
that's really tough.
All right, Jeremy, do you have Yankees ready? Is Randle Joey Gallo?
Well, first of all, Joey Gallo's not even on the team anymore.
But I'm saying, what do you want for Julius Randle? For him not being another?
No, I think he's Aaron Hicks.
Oh, so he's stuck here, is what you're saying. Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, in the sense that like Hicks has been one of the worst players in basketball, in baseball, and Randle was one of the worst in basketball last year for the higher usage guys. So I think that's a similar comparison, because like Gallo, at least he wasn't making a ton. He was in the last year of his deal. It was a very different situation. Hicks, like, hey, you're on a long-term contract. You're not hitting, and your offense is supposed to be a big part of it. You're just not able to perform well on defense, like that abysmal play against the Rays that happened not too long ago. So I feel like he's Hicks.
Okay. So Randle's Hicks.
Yeah. And then you said RJ, Obi, and Quickley?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There's got to be some... RJ to me is like someone who doesn't get on base a lot, which a lot of people care about. But you know what? In a way, RJ is maybe closer to Joey Gallo, just in the sense that... which I hate saying so much because it's so not accurate.
We're gonna have to cut this entry out.
No, because like,
why do you hate accurate? But it's RJ like, Barrett.
It's like people who but that's no. You know what it was? No, it's because it's this. It's people care a lot about the field goal percentage, and people care a lot about Joey Gallo's batting average. Where it's like, okay, but there are other things as well. Like Gallo did get on base. He did play really good defense. Like there were positives here that Gallo had. They were just overshadowed by other things. And that's not the right comparison to RJ, but I don't know what would be apt in that. Like you have a young star, you know, the Mets better. So maybe you have an answer. Like you have
I have a better Yankee one for RJ.
What's that?
Wouldn't be Rizzo, where people can point to his 220 average and be like, it's bad, but it's like, actually look at the overall numbers. And the tough part is that Rizzo's like not Rizzo's a homegrown, not a homegrown Yankee.
Yeah, he's too old, but I like that.
The spirit of the
question. And they're lefties. So
I have a funny one you're gonna think of for Randle for the Mets.
Wait, I've got one for.
Go ahead, RJ.
Could you make an argument for Glaber?
Hope not.
When Glaber, no, but I mean, like,
you know what?
Glaber's hot. Yeah, he's red hot, and that's like RJ. But like Glaber will go through these prolonged stretches, and it's just abysmal.
Mm-hmm.
And like RJ,
I think that's probably the best. That was the one I had in mind for RJ.
RJ need to find a little bit more consistency moving forward. Like when he's on his game, man, he looks great, and when it's off, it's like, whoa, this is just not going well. So yeah, I take back the
Joey Gallo.
I wasn't comparing to Gallo, but it was more like the thought of like taking one stat and using another stat and leveling the two. But yeah, I'll go with Glaber for RJ.
So Quickley and Obi. They Clay Holmes and Nestor Cortez. Two fan favorites that are actually pretty productive despite limited opportunities.
I personally did not see any IQ OB comparisons on the Yankees.
I don't think there is.
I think it's more Mets.
Yeah,
I think it's more Mets.
Yeah, younger players. So my Julius Randle comp is Edwin Diaz, because I hated Edwin Diaz his first year here, and now he's having an unreal year. So Edwin Diaz's 2021-22 hasn't happened yet. We're currently in the midst of his All-NBA, second team All-NBA season, in which he gets paid going into the offseason. So that's my first comp. RJ. So this would have worked last year. RJ would have been Conforto, because no more polarizing player in Mets land than Michael Conforto, because it's like, doesn't drive in enough runs. And it's like, it's not his fault if guys don't get on base in front of him. His batting average is low. It's 2021. Why are we still looking at batting average? Like, Michael Conforto was actually a very productive New York Met. And the thought was that he will remain to be a productive New York Met. I think maybe Jeff McNeil would be the better RJ comp, because the guy has like 6 home runs, but is actually their most consistent overall best hitter, I should say. So I'll go McNeil for RJ with the spirit of Conforto. And then, pick a young kid. Brett Beatty homered tonight in his first, we're recording this on Wednesday. Brett Beatty homered in his first game. Who knows what the Mets have done since then when you're hearing this. So maybe Brett Beatty is Quickley. Brett Beatty is Obi. And I'm just like hyped that we have a young kid. Quickley. Oh, I got it. Okay, Beatty and Alvarez are Quickley and Obi, because Met fans have been screaming, get them up here. I'm tired of watching James McCann and Alec Burks and Eduardo Escobar and Taj Gibson play. Play the kids, damn it. Okay, there you go.
The flip side for the Yankees, you could say Volpe and
Dominguez. Yeah,
I was going to say Peraza.
Peraza even. Yeah.
They called up
Florio.
Yes, but they called up another.
the other kid that brought
up. They called up Oswaldo Peraza.
Yeah. So it was okay. So they finally called up Peraza. Right. I'm honestly surprised, Andrew, that for Randle you didn't have McCann.
I don't have a 2021 version of James McCann.
I understand, but in terms of like, wasn't McCann? Was he the second guy that the Mets wanted at catcher? Like there was another player who they wanted and it wasn't really working out.
So right spirit, they originally went after Real Muto, and Real Muto was holding out. So right spirit, McCann's been bad since he's been here though. And unless you're saying next year McCann in his contract year is going to hit 40 home runs, and that would make him Julius Randle.
Well, it'd be this year. This year he would if he were good this year.
Oh, because it's his year before his contract year. Yeah. It could be. I'm saying Edwin Diaz this year he's having a second team All NBA season.
True. He's thriving.
Maybe first team, to be honest, and is about to get a contract. The comp being that there's another catcher in the waiting, which like Obi waiting for Randle get off the team would be good. I don't have good feelings from James McCann. So, like that, at least, like I do from a We Hear Julius Randle season. Benji, outstanding question. Do you have more to add to it?
The one thing you guys covered all of it. It's a hard question, and it's a different. The one I thought about also was IQ and Nestor Cortez. Mm-hmm. Here's the thinking. Okay. Here's the thinking. Neither of them blows you away in terms of anything that they do physically. Neither is like a tremendous athlete in the kind of traditional sense of the word. In the pitching aspect, Nestor is not throwing 99, 100. IQ is not dunking on anybody. He's not the fastest guy out there. He's not the strongest guy out there. They're kind of quirky in what they do. Quickie's kind of a herky-jerky offensive player, foul baiting, doing kind of interesting dribble moves, getting a little bit of space. Nestor's doing all sorts of crazy hesitations on the mound, crafty. Young enough to be at least somewhat comparable. And Nestor's older, but but also the vibes, just great vibes.
Yeah.
So there's my Nestor IQ. I had to work a little bit hard for it, but I like it.
The only thing with Nestor is that he bounced around the league for such a long time that to me, he's more like what you hope. You hope Nestor's good enough where it's like Starks type of situation where just like, can't find a team, comes back to the Yankees, although Starks didn't come back to the Knicks, like that sort of thing, and then can be productive when it really matters.
I like it. Yeah. Can't argue.
Outstanding questions, gentlemen. The only other question I had that probably doesn't take too long, is a player you're most irrationally high on, because I wanted to really dissect the John love of Luka. Next 5 years, Luka or Giannis, who are you taking?
I'm taking Giannis.
Giannis. Benji.
How old is Giannis?
Giannis is 27. Luka is 22.
May I remind you of that tweet that was about LeBron, where it's like, oh, LeBron's turning 30. This will be over soon.
Yeah.
And it's like 9 years later, 8 years later. It's like, no,
there is an important difference there. I think, unless Giannis actually develops a real jump shot, I think the shelf life is legitimately shorter than it was for LeBron, who kind of, as the years went on, relied on his jumper more and more and more and was still able to be very effective. Giannis is obviously even more of kind of like a physical freak, if that exists, than LeBron in some ways. He's just taller and like whatever. But I do think that'll limit him. But 5 years, I don't think there's any reason to take anyone but Giannis. I think that's a short enough. If you gave me 10 years, I'd probably take Luka. 5 years, I think Giannis is the answer.
John, I hope you made it to this part of the pod, because that's unanimous across the board. Okay. He's doing the trade value column right now for the Patreon and defiantily is saying,
I don't think that's crazy though.
I also don't actually think it's
the trade value will take into 23. He's 22, 23. You're talking about 15 more years of a career. Like that is.
The caveat is we're only projecting 5 years out.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, you're wrong, John.
There you go.
Besides, the real question should be Luka Doncic or Brad Stevens. Just saying.
Did you see that Malcolm Brogdon signing? You think anybody could have done that?
Nope.
The president. All right, Jeremy, take us out.
Well, thank you so much, Benji. Is there anything that you'd like to plug while you're here?
Are you binging anything, Benji? I went through 2 seasons of Better Call Saul. Felt like 3 seasons of Better Call Saul in like 5 days.
Am I binging anything? No, I did the Better Call Saul binge like previously. Mm-hmm. I am not currently binging anything. And I don't have much to plug, to be honest with you. I am like really trying to get into this. I'm trying to write something about the Joakim Noah offense that Tibbs ran with Chicago, how that could work with Isaiah Hartenstein. It is progressing very slowly. I don't know when it will be out, but it will happen at some point. And then, follow my Twitter, Ben Reynolds NBA, put stuff out all the time. Knicks Film Threads. I'll get to stuff at some point again. Not much to thread about at the moment. If Donovan Mitchell ever comes, there will certainly be much to say about him. But until then, yeah, just follow me on Twitter and come hang out.
Andrew, anything you'd like to plug as well?
The Knicks Film School Podcast.
It's a great idea.
Yes.
I would like to plug that too.
There you go.
So thank you very much to Benji for joining us this wonderful time. Thank you to Andrew for the questions as well. And we've got a great episode on Monday coming up where it'll be me, John, and Andrew talking about the 4th pick overall in our pick selections. So make sure to check that out. But for all of us here at Knicks Film School, thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.